You're right. We are a week away from round 2 and 3 of the NFL draft. Round 1 would have already happened. But what's strange so far about round 1 is that we are so close, and yet we have not seen one first-round pick traded in this year's draft. Not from a previous year, not from this year with a trade. So here's what I want to go through here. I have a list of players that possibly are on a trade list, maybe gets traded, maybe not get traded. It's just a simple yes or no. Do they get traded on draft night? Start with
yes.
Trey Hendrickson.
No.
I
think Cincinnati's going to figure out a way to keep him.
No, I think that if he would have gotten traded, it would have happened before. I think this is just one of those that either he holds out or they figure out a way. But I don't think Cincinnati wants to get rid of him. I think they're trying to find a way to place a Band-Aid over this to at least give themselves a little more time. And maybe some of the teammates, Burrow, can convince him, hey, you really want to be here. You don't want to do this. We got something big planning. So I'm going to say no as well.
The next guy, reports were with him is that him and the owner had come to an agreement during the combine, yet the owner didn't reach out to the agent, still hadn't reached out to the agent months later, and yet there's not a deal to this day done. That is Micah Parsons. Does he get traded draft night?
No effing way. Jerry is not going to let him go. He's going to do the whole Jerry song and dance and wait till the end and pay him more than he should have paid him about 5 months earlier. So, no, I don't think he's going to get traded.
If anything, David, this is where Dallas will come out with their blockbuster deal on draft night and say, hey, we have locked him up. They are losing. They got Dak coming off of injury. They can't afford any more bad news, or their fan base will just lose it. I mean, seriously, if you let him go because you screwed this thing up, I don't care if you are Jerry Jones, you won't be able to come back from this. I actually expect this is where you'll hear we came up with this blockbuster deal, and, you know, guys like Aiden Hutchinson will be happy and celebrating because they're like, well, I'm next.
The next guy on the list has had an interesting offseason. Within the last week, he has had a domestic situation. No charges were filed. The GM actually came out for the Miami Dolphins and said that they were not looking to trade this player, but multiple reports, multiple insiders say that they can get a large haul for one Tyreek Hill. Will he get dealt draft night?
I'm going to say yes.
2 years remaining on his deal.
I'm going to say yes, and I have a weird feeling, just a weird feeling, and they're not going to get the haul they think they're going to get. But a real late first-round pick, maybe, to go back to where he came from. Kansas City? I don't know.
He should be traded. He won't. But he should, because right now he's becoming more of a problem than adding value to the team. So it's the little stuff that keeps happening around him. At some point, you're not winning. You didn't bring anything to this team. So why are we keeping you around? Yeah, if Kansas City or New England or somebody says, hey, we'll take him off your hands, I think they will easily say, you know what, pack your bags, you're headed to Boston.
And I think going to Kansas City, he'd be in that culture where, okay, he might be flamboyant as ever on the field, but I think his off-the-field stuff will be managed a lot differently.
Does Kansas City really need him? Worthy actually played pretty good.
I know.
And Tyreek's lost a step.
He can be that slot guy all of a sudden.
See, I'm thinking maybe you go someplace like the Patriots who need a receiver, and you could be that guy. And you'll have less pressure.
I don't see him in Vrabel.
It ain't his choice of where he gets traded to, though.
Yeah.
I'm right, but I'm just saying.
I don't think
that's in division.
And I don't think Miami's trading him in the division.
Right.
But you never know.
Or maybe he goes Tennessee.
Yeah.
So let's go to his teammate, one Jaylen Ramsey, who the reports are, and from the GM himself, said that both parties have mutually agreed to seek a trade. So does Jaylen Ramsey get dealt draft night?
Yes. I'm going to go before Stoney because Stoney keeps taking my answers. So, yes. Yes, I do think that he will be traded on draft night.
30 years old, owed $21 million.
There's the key, David. Is anybody going to be willing to give I don't think you're going to give up a first-round pick for that because you have to pay $21 million.
Oh, I don't think this is only for a first-round pick?
No. This is just trading draft.
I think he's going to get dealt, and I think that it may be, they may have to eat a little bit of that money as well. And depending on how much Miami's willing to eat, yeah, because you only would have to be on the hook for him for 1 year, and let's say it costs you a third or a fourth round selection. I would do that in a heartbeat.
You know what's an interesting team for them, although it probably doesn't fit their culture, so to speak, because you never know what's going to happen with their starting cornerback. I don't think he's going to be there next year. Green Bay.
Yeah. No, that's actually a really good fit for him. Because I was thinking, because either that or I would take it if Robert Saleh says, you know what, we want him. The Niners, take him. You got the money.
Right.
You cut everybody. You traded away everybody.
That's interesting you bring up the Packers because the draft is in Green Bay. Next two guys on the list are wide receivers. One plays for my team, one plays for your team, Rico. George Pickens, Brandon Ayuk. Do either get traded?
They get traded for each other. No.
No,
I know.
I know Ayuk. I don't think Ayuk gets traded because they have to pay him, like his bonus kicked in.
His bonus has already kicked in.
Right, on April 1st.
$22.85 million.
So at this point, no. If he was going to get traded, it was going to be back last month. Once April 1st happened and he wasn't gone, I don't see that happening because unless somebody's willing to basically pay for that bonus that's kicking in, which I don't think they will. Pickens, David, I don't know what your team is doing. I don't. The fact that they make the playoffs is the only reason why nobody makes fun of them. Because they're the Giants. They're the playoff version of the Giants.
Ayuk being traded, going back to your team, doesn't make sense to me either because you have somewhat of a foundation for at least for 1 year before they decide, before the Purdy thing gets, taken care of, which you will get taken care of. Because you'd have him, Pearsall, and Kittle. And you have McCaffrey coming back. Granted, we don't know how healthy he is. You still have a really good offense. So I wouldn't trade him.
Stoney, here's the other thing. Ayuk's not going to be ready game one.
Okay.
That's the other, people he's still going to be out for a little bit of time for probably the first 4 or 5 games before he's fully back because this happened, I think, in week 6 last year when he got injured. So it's the same reason why I caution people, don't believe that Aiden Hutchinson is just going to come back in game 1 and tear it up.
No.
Give him a little time.
And then the thing with Pickens, David, I don't think anybody's going to give up anything for him. He's such a conundrum mentally.
You're exactly right. The final player is intriguing because it could have an impact on the actual draft at number 3 for the Giants, and it is Kayvon Thibodeaux. Here's why I say it. 5th-year option can be picked up by May 1st, and the GM right now is not committing to picking up the 5th-year option. I don't know if that's leaning towards a draft decision with Abdul Carter, or he's just trying to leave it open, or he actually doesn't want to pick it up. But could you see Kayvon Thibodeaux traded if they draft Abdul Carter? Maybe, right?
If they trade Kayvon Thibodeaux, this will be Mike, because that was the whole purpose of getting Carter is to pair him up with him. And if Thibodeaux's on the market, every team, not just Detroit, Stoney, every team's gonna be like, whoa, what do you want? What do you want from? They may actually be able to squeeze a 2nd-round pick from somebody.
Oh, if I was the Lions, I'd give up their pick at 28 as second.
You gotta let Brad cook.
Whatever. He'd be cooking and make the trade. Yeah.
But yes, it would be foolish.
Right. I don't think they're going to trade him because they have him and Burns, on one side, And who knows?
Dexter Lawrence in the middle.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Great. That's one where I don't care that you're being stupid. I'm just going to take advantage of you. Every team's going to try to take advantage of the Giants if that's the case.
And that is in Football Today.